Question 26, Part B. Roxy selected 30 students at random from Year 12 at her high school and asked each of them how many text messages they had sent from a mobile phone within the last day. The results are summarised in the following table. Part 1. Calculate the mean number of text messages sent. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. We can use the stat mode on a scientific calculator to find the mean, the sample standard deviation, and the median of this set of scores. I'm going to demonstrate this on the Casio FX100AU Plus second edition scientific calculator. Now the first step is to turn the calculator on, and then pressing the mode key, select option 3 for stat, and then option 1 for one variable statistics. So now we have the score column on the calculator where we can enter in the scores which correspond to these scores here, but we also need the frequency column. So in order to make that visible, we can press Shift and then Mode, then scroll down and then select option 4, Stat, and then option 1 for frequency on. Now we have the frequency column. So I'm going to enter in the data a column at a time. So I'm going to start off by entering in these scores. So after each score is entered, you press the equals key, which acts as the enter key. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then cursor across and then up using the cursor keys or the arrow keys. Just making sure that we have the cursor corresponding to the first row, but in the frequency column. Now we can enter in the associated frequencies for these scores. So for 0, the frequency is 3. For 1, the frequency is 3. For 2, the frequency is 4. For 3, the frequency is 4. For 4, the frequency is 9. And for 5, the frequency is 7. And just make sure that everything lines up. Now press the AC key and then press Shift and then 1, which brings up a context menu for statistics. Now we're going to select option 4, var, and then option 2, x bar. So that means the sample mean. And then press equals, and we get 3.13 recurring, but we need to round that to 2 decimal places, which will be 3.13. So therefore, the mean number of text messages sent is 3.13. Part 2. Calculate the sample standard deviation. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. Since the data has already been entered into the calculator and it has not been cleared, we can use the statistics context menu to find the sample standard deviation. So pressing Shift and then 1 and then var, which we used in part 1, notice here option 3 and option 4 we have sigma and S. Now sigma is the population standard deviation, which is the one that we generally tend to use. Option 4, S, is the sample standard deviation, and they're slightly different answers. In fact, option 4 will give you a slightly bigger answer than option 3 because it accounts for some variability because we're dealing with a sample, not the population. So if the question ever asks for the sample standard deviation, we do not use sigma, we use this one here, S. So pressing option 4, we get 1.65536 and so on, and to 2 decimal places, that'll be 1.66. Therefore, the sample standard deviation is 1.66, correct to 2 decimal places. Part 3. Determine the median number of text messages sent. To find the median, press Shift and then 1 to bring up the statistics context menu, and then select option 6, min max. Now we have a few options to choose from, and the median is option 4. But before I select that, I might quickly describe what these other options are. Option 1 gives us the minimum score. Option 2 gives us the maximum score. Option 3 gives us the first quartile. And option 5 gives us the third quartile. Now option 4, med, represents the median. So selecting 4, we see med displayed on the screen. Pressing equals, we get 4. Therefore, the median is 4. Part 4. Describe the skewness of the data. From the table, and in particular analysing the frequency column, we can see that 9 students sent 4 text messages in that day and 7 students sent 5 text messages in that day. Now there are 30 students in this sample, so 16 out of those 30 sent 4 or 5 text messages in that day. So clearly the bulk of the data tends to be down here. That means that the distribution is negatively skewed. There'd be a tail on the left-hand side. So this would be the answer, a negatively skewed distribution, and I've just drawn a quick sketch just for a visual reference. Part 5. There are 150 students in Year 12 at Roxy's school. Use the sample data in the table to estimate how many of these Year 12 students would have sent more than 3 text messages within the last day. 16 out of 30 students sampled sent more than 3 text messages in the last day. So if we refer back to the table, it's the last 2 rows of the table. 9 students sent 4 text messages and 7 students sent 5 text messages, so that's 16 students out of the 30. So the relative frequency out of 150 students is given by 16 over 30 times 150, which equals 80 students.